start a company here?
Yep. Faded Productions. Started it 2018.
College?
Yeah, started in college.
Is that fairly ridiculous?
Where'd
you go?
I went to West Virginia University. So.
Oh wow, I'm a Terp.
Yeah. Oh, all right. So Maryland. Yeah, you guys had a good football team past couple of years with Tagovailoa or whatever. Been getting better.
I couldn't name one person on any team except for Boomer Esiason.
Yeah,
but it seems like the teams as a team they're not great, but individually they're always in the NFL.
Oh yeah.
You see Maryland people everywhere.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, Maryland. They always have one or two athletes that'll trickle out, especially in basketball.
Yeah.
I went to, I forget the guy's name. Was it Williams? Mike Williams? Was he the coach back in the day?
No.
Who was it?
It was, first of all, it was the years that I was there.
Oh, okay.
And he used to walk down. It was Gary Williams.
Gary Williams, that's who.
So I graduated in 92.
Okay.
And he came the second year that I was there. And he's a Jersey guy.
Yep.
And he was at BC when my sister was at BC in 82. All right. Then he went to Ohio State. Then he came down to Maryland after Maryland got, they used to say Maryland screwed by the NBA, by the NCAA. The guy, I think it was Lefty or Giselle, or that might have been LaSalle. This one guy, he was a coach. He was from the school in Washington D.C. and he did some shady stuff for Maryland, like he was giving recruits away. He was driving people home and stuff like that.
Oh yeah,
but he's probably doing more. We got 2-year, cancellation out of the NCAA. So Gary Williams came in to straighten out the thing. We couldn't play. Walt Williams was on the team and somebody else. Gary would walk down the hallways, and I'd see him every now and then, and he would look at me like he recognized me. It was a Jersey feel. He could tell I was from Jersey.
Everyone's got the Jersey connection.
Everybody had. I would be like, he'd be like this, like, and I'd be like, yeah, Gary, I got you. And Gary was the best.
Is he from around here in Jersey?
I think he's from up north. No, he might have been down. He's from Jersey, I know that.
Yeah.
But he's got that swagger too. Like
Gotcha.
That,
Yeah.
Not a cocky swagger, but just like a,
He knows he's good.
He knows he's good, and he was excellent. Yeah, he was excellent, and he got them that championship.
I mean, I feel like you have to have that kind of cocky swagger at some point, though, if you're going to be that good.
He was on a championship team in '63 or something, or '64 at Maryland. They won a championship back then. That was the last time they won before they won again, I think.
I'm sure my dad will tell you all about Seton Hall's Phantom Foul. Never actually got the championship, but got close while he was there.
Seton Hall was Danny Calandrillo and all those guys.
Yeah.
And the Cody. I used to hang out with the Codys, and they knew who's the basketball announcer. He coached at Seton Hall.
Which one?
The older guy.
I'm terrible with names of basketball guys.
He's got a. Anyway, he coached at Seton Hall, and all these guys used to know all these Seton Hall. I knew Seton Hall in the '80s.
Gotcha. That's cool. That kind of confidence though that you need to have for that. Do you feel you need to have that for music? Like when you go on stage, do you ever get nervous, or do you?
I always get nervous.
Really? Even after playing for 20 years around here, 20 plus years?
I always get nervous. I always, it's not about rehearsal anymore. It's about reading the crowd and making sure that, sometimes it's like kill or be killed. You walk into columns or something like that and there's a bunch of kids.
Yeah.
And they're not all drunk or anything. They just want to have a good time, but you're like, okay, you gotta start in fourth gear.
Yeah.
You're not playing mellow stuff to start out.
No.
So it's kill or be killed, and that's a good feeling though.
Yeah.
Because if you know what's gonna work, then you go into it right away.
Yeah.
But then there's the crowds, sometimes where you're just it's a medium night. They're my favorite nights actually. I like the big nights too, but where I can just ask everybody what they want to hear, and then work off that as it's almost like okay, what does everybody want to hear, and then build off of that. So I try to make it more about the people who are coming to see us.
Now, do you think that varies based off of venue? Like, is it more of you can do that at Darcy's type of thing where you can ask people what they want to hear versus columns where you're going full throttle on?
If it's a slow crowd at the columns, which is not usually happening these days.
Rare, yeah.
And that's just every band. Every band's packed over there. You're not going to do that. But every now and then, if if it's like you're like 3 songs in a row, you're like, what the hell's going on, man? And nothing's happening.
Yeah.
Or everybody's like, yeah, where the hits?
Yeah.
Then you're like, okay, what do you want to hear? And then you need to try and leave it up to them. And sometimes you get people who, I can sing. And I come on up,
pull them up,
because I can't sing, but I can sing in tune.
You ever find someone interesting who can actually sing?
Absolutely,
really.
Yeah. But they're the people who will say, I sing, let me sing. Can't sing. Never. It never happens.
It's always the ones that
It's always this. It's always this.
The person pointing.
My friend is a great singer, and he's usually like, and then
I don't want to do it.
Then they're good.
Yeah.
And I can any musician out there will tell you, that's the deal. The girl will be like this, or the guy will be like this. No, I don't want to, because that's the way to do it. If I'm at a place. And I'm not walking up to the stage and saying, "Hey, man,
I could sing."
Let me sing, because it's ridiculous. Nobody's gonna be like, "Yeah, come on up, man.
Yeah,
come on up." But I do allow a lot of people up on stage, even if they're just having fun.
Yeah,
it's all about fun right now. After COVID, I think everybody has just realized, like, let's just. People are dying that we know,
Yeah.
And it's not as serious now, which we can talk about it like in a lighter way.
Exactly.
But, I would play a couple gigs during COVID, at like private parties in people's houses or outside in their houses. And people were dancing around like it was the end of World War II because they were just so happy to have music. And I was like, wow. They kind of twisted my perspective on like, oh, wow, like this actually, when people come up to you and say, man, this means a lot that what you're doing, that actually hit me. And I'm like, okay, I got what I'm doing. I know what I should be doing. Thank God.
Mm-hmm.
I always knew that, but I was always like, oh, shit, people want to hear music and people want to have a good time.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can make, if any kind of emotional, positive or feeling out of it, then that's fantastic. So that was... COVID, in a lot of ways, was good for me in a where I can understand that I'm really here for hanging out and playing with my band and enjoying life.
Mm-hmm.
Enjoying life. I wasn't enjoying life a lot up to then. I was like, everything was like, oh, I got to do this. I got to do this. I got to get this done. I got to do this. I got to do this. And now I'm like, it'll happen in its own time. This could happen again.
Yeah. I think COVID slowed things down for a lot of people and put things into perspective
I
like
hope
that.
It did for people your age.
I think it definitely did, especially because I think it put people my age into a box where they weren't going out as much and they realized I need that social aspect and I need to go out and listen to music and hang out with my friends. And
same thing.
Exactly. But speaking of COVID, you were very busy during COVID. You were putting on those live stream shows. And how'd you get started doing that?
So Matt, my manager, who is the best thing in the world, this guy's great. I was the reason I shave my head is because I lose my hair like during this season right now, and in summertime I don't lose my hair, so I just shave it so I don't have to worry about it.
Gotcha.
So I think he says it was like one night at a gig and somebody didn't show up, and I was just like, I need help, man. I need you to help me to manage my band, because he had brought it up.
Mm-hmm. So
when he started doing that, I had just like, oh man, this life got easier. So then COVID hit, and then people were like, oh man, we miss you guys playing and all other bands playing and stuff like that. So we were talking about doing something on Facebook, and it was just a guitar in front of. We're like, okay, let's just do a Wednesday night. I think I had like a couple gigs a month, or something like that. And everybody thought it was only going to be like 2 months, remember,
Gotcha, yeah.
And so we're like, all right, let's, everyone was on lockdown. And we just did a gig, it wasn't about money at that point for anything. And it was just like a gig. And then we were playing, I was playing just to like a screen. And it didn't even sound that great, but like 500 people watched, and then we were like, okay, let's try and do this because I'm okay financially, knock on wood. And I was still getting gigs at that time too. So we were doing backyard gigs and stuff like that. So I was like, all right, how about we do like a request thing where we get a company, not a company, but a foundation that, Mary's Place, or I think we did Mary's Place first, or we did Sisters of Mercy or something like that. We called them up and said, hey, do you have a site where they can donate directly to your site and press the donate button and put their whatever to you? Because I didn't want any part of that shit. Because down the road, and you took, all that fucking bullshit. Any kind of, fundraiser that we do or something like that. Yeah. You guys handle the money. I'm just playing.
Yeah, I'm the talent. You do the rest of the back end work.
Yeah. And, because you never know how people react. People are fucked up. So anyway, I said, Matt, make sure they have a donate button directly to the fucking place, and I'll do it. Let's do that and have some, and then we can just, the people who come to see us, and by the way, I'm still getting positive vibes from it too.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So it is. I knew that part of it too. Like, okay, yeah. Like, let's do a really good thing, because they needed it at the time.
Oh yeah,
and they still need it. But and then we thought it was going to be $500 for the foundation. Like for Mary's Place, it turned out to be $5,000 every week. And then it was like, okay, let's do this every week, because we did it first just for the people who we knew, who Roddy Band fans or whatever, and that was just a thing. And then we're like, okay, let's turn it into a fundraiser. Let's do a fundraiser. And then the first time we did the fundraiser thing was like maybe $2,500 or something for, I think it was Mary's Place or Sisters of Mercy or the food bank.
Yeah, the food bank.
So, and then we're like, okay, let's try and call a couple places up and see if they have that direct thing where they can directly go into that. And the ones that did, we put on a list and then started doing that. And then it turned into $2,500, then it turned into $5,000 they were getting. And then it was, I think, and then the companies would get their own people to watch that night. So the foundations would get their own people who are part of that foundation to watch that night. So they were watching too, and they were donating to the foundation too.
Gotcha.
So it kind of like peaked after like 6 or 7 weeks, and then it faded out. But it turned out to be like almost $100,000, I think, that for like 6 or 7 different foundations, which is fantastic. Then my manager was like, okay, you got to do something for yourself. All right, so then we did one with the band in Bob Junko's living room after all that, and they gave us a ton of money.
That's awesome. It
was like $12,000 or $15,000 that we raised.
Oh, that's great
for ourselves.
Yeah, just for you and the band.
Yeah. And so everything worked out in its own way, and it was. I feel very proud of what Matt, Sarah, too, his wife, and I did, and I'm glad everything worked out, and pretty impressive that the local people who listen to us through $20, some people through $300 a night, some people through $500 a night. So all those people in Avon, Belmar, Manasquan, people have money. They were still working, and they wanted to see the band. They wanted to do a good thing. They were like, okay, we're not spending money on alcohol. Let's spend our money for a good thing.
Yeah. It was cool because I remember it was like a little community almost, because people would join on every single week and watch it. It was like the same people in the comments too. It was like, I remember seeing comments from the Schaefers and myself, and just It was weird because that your friends would be tuning in to watch it. It was like a little event.
God, I wasn't allowed to see the comments because I would have been a fucking asshole, bitching and moaning to everybody. Like, yeah, you want to hear this, and what a surprise!
Oh, everyone was saying something. Everyone had a request. It was great, but
and then it would be after 2 or 3 weeks. I've been asking for this for 3 weeks. Why aren't you playing my thing?
You haven't played my goddamn song.
I would hear that. I've given $20 to whatever foundation, and you haven't played my thing. I'm like, and then I would be like, okay, Matt, we got to take care of this person.
Yeah, we gotta put a
before
list
he
together.
Ends up at the door with a machete and wants to take off my fucking head.
Yeah, because I'm not playing this brown-eyed girl.
The way I've had people at gigs, like literally 2 weeks ago. I'm sorry if I get all anxious.
Oh no, you're good.
I had a Coca-Cola. 2 weeks ago, I had a guy Instagram me or something, and I'm not even on Instagram. No, he messaged me on Facebook. Me and my friends are boycotting your band because you play too much Springsteen. All right? And he Instagrammed me at 2 in the morning. Right? Oh. So I answer him. I'm like, I get it. I get that you get that. There's 10 other bands out there. you go see them.
Yeah.
But boycotting. So, and by the way, the night I got this, we were playing a Dylan fest, like just Bob Dylan.
Bob Dylan
just
strictly.
Bob Dylan. So he said he drove. So I answered him. I said, "Hey, it's okay. I understand. But and the next day he texts back. I'm not gonna say his name. I don't even know his name. God bless you, by the way, whoever you are. And I'll say a prayer for you." It's like, I had a few beers. I did drive by last night, and you had a good crowd. And because I answered, I said, "By the way, tonight we just played Bob Dylan. You could come see that. If you don't like Dylan, just whatever." And he says, "Well, me and my friends, we go to see these bands, and they're all playing Springsteen." I'm like, "Okay, look, I don't play Springsteen all night long. I play and at the Columns and the Bruce Fest that we did, we're gonna play Springsteen. But if I don't play Springsteen 5 songs, half the crowd's gonna be pissed off."
I was gonna say you got an angry crowd at the Jersey Shore.
Yeah, and there's other bands.
Yeah,
and boycott us. I get it, boycott us. Yeah, like we're not. We're a fucking cover band on the Jersey Shore, dude.
Well, you guys do make original music,
We
though.
do.
Yeah. You're putting out a new album that you were actually recording last night. What's the deal with that?
Yeah. So we've been recording. We're coming out with well, the first single is going to be like 5 months before it's going to be Drummer Boy, which is like a rock version of Drummer Boy.
Cool.
Yeah, it's really good, actually. Like, I just got out of the session. We're finished it.
Awesome.
So we're getting the rights to that, and you buy the rights to it. It's only like $200 or $300. I didn't know how much it would be. So hopefully we'll get it. Excuse me, I just burped. So it's a good version. I've been playing this version for like 10 years with the band, and then maybe an Irish tune. That's a cover, and then we have like probably 10 to 12 originals. We're going to re-record one of the songs that we used to do, one of the originals.
American Irishman?
We did re-record that, but we haven't. I don't know what I want to do. There is also a ballad version of American Irishman.
Oh, really?
That Chris Junko, my piano player, who's a genius, is figuring out, and it's really cool. But that's going to take like a week in the studio to do the right way. The album might even be called American Irishman because I have a couple of Irish songs that I've written that are Irish-esque, and there's an original song that we wrote about 5 years ago that I wrote called "Stuck in the Belmar Bars." I don't know, I don't have a copy of it, but it won an award for it's not released. I never released it. It won an award in the Garden State Film Festival for best song in a comedy. So, a comedy movie, not a comedy song.
Oh, that's awesome.
So, yeah, I kind of have that as the base. It's going to be like an Irish rock song with some with horns on it, so.
Very cool.
Yeah, so I'm not excited yet. I just want to work on it and do the best job that I can do with it. And then I'm not a promoter guy. I promote going out and playing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a promoter of like, hey, man, this stuff is great.
Check out my original music. Yeah.
That could have been a fault of mine back in the day, but I don't think I was good enough. My voice wasn't, when I was in my 20s, I thought I was good and I wasn't, and then I started listening to myself. I was like, oh shit. Like when I was like 20, 27, 28, like more like your mom and those guys were starting to make money and and I was like, man, I got a college degree. Do I want to do this? And I was starting to listen to myself and I was like, man, I got to get a lot better. I got to get a lot better if I want to do this forever. And it takes a long time, like I started playing in the clubs only when I was like 23. Because I went to college and I didn't play in the clubs down there because I was ultra shy. Believe it or not, I was ultra shy. And then when I got back, I was like, okay, I would see Solinsky and Joe Finn and that, and I was like, I think I can do this. Like people probably watch me and like I can do this. Like, he's good, but he's not. I can do that, and I did that with that. I was like, okay, if they're making a living at this, I can do this, and so I don't know what your question was. I go off on tangents.
Was it just playing?
Can I get another Coca-Cola?
Yeah, of course. So was it just playing in bars every night that just started it off?
Yeah, I was playing in bars. Mm-hmm.
Grab you a Coke real quick.
He's getting my drugs for me, my caffeine. Oh, he's got a fake plant here, by the way.
It is fake.
It's got a waft of a plastic and marijuana. It's like fake marijuana.
Yeah. So was it just playing in bars that basically like paved the way, just made you better over time? Because
it was practice in the bars, exactly what it was.
Gotcha.
I was rehearsing and practicing in the bars, and when I was like, I was all acoustic until I was like 27, sometimes 3 pieces, and then the girlfriend I had at the time, I had broken up with somebody, and this other girl was like, get a band together. She was into Driving and Crying. Did you ever hear that band? Driving and Crying? They're from like South Jersey.
Check it out.
And they're actually just released a song. They're my age, I think, and I just heard them on the radio. They're excellent. And I was like, okay, let's get a band together. And a friend of mine, I had a drummer. I had this guy Mike Paduano on bass, and I put an ad out for a sax player, and this guy Brian Frank, a great sax player. I put an ad out in Craigslist. This is how long ago that was. Craigslist. I said sax player / hand job. Okay. So yeah, it wasn't in the personals. Don't worry. So Brian Frank was my first sax player, and he was great. He had a New York City sound. I was like, man, that was a match made in heaven, me and Brian. And so we started playing out in bars with the band in like 98, 99, 2000. And we were playing at like Patrick's Pub, which is the Anchor now. And we were getting like every Friday night, every Saturday night there. Then we weren't getting big. We were feeling it out. We weren't too tight, but we were playing Dylan, Springsteen, Grateful Dead. That was our set list.
Gotcha.
And Tom Petty. But same thing now. I just spin your mic. Same thing now. Nothing has changed. And I'm sure people are like, damn, Roddy plays the same shit. It is. I get it. That's why I do these. You have to play. Some nights you have to play the songs that people want to hear. I'm like rationalizing my life right now. Yeah. I have to play these songs.
I think you got to play what you want to play, though, to a certain extent, too, because that's what's going to come off the best.
Like, you have to keep people happy to a certain extent.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have to keep yourself happy in the band.
Yeah.
All right? And that's part of the original stuff is more of that right now. I want my drummer right now, my band right now, everybody in my band, my bass player, Tommy LaBella, Larry Hart and his own bass. They're unbelievable. These guys are great. And I want to live up to that potential and coming out with music, whether it sells or not. Doesn't matter. I'd love for it to, but it's going to be good, and it's going to be with people who these guys all have separate projects where they make their own albums too. Yeah. So yeah. That's why I do the nights like all winter long. Now we're going to do like, we did the Bob Dylan Blood on the Tracks night, and then last week we did Van Morrison the Band. Just that for one night on Thursday, and the crowds are great, and the crowds come see it because they know that's just what they're going to hear. And one will be a Stones night, and one will be a Tom Petty night, and one will be I want to do Reckoning next, actually, the Grateful Dead.
That'd be very cool.
Yeah, we're doing Reckoning, just acoustic, like 5 of us.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
And I love that. That's how I learned how to play guitar on that album. And I'm not like the Dead. There's plenty of Dead bands out there, and our band could be a Dead band, if we wanted to, but I'm not deep into into knowing a lot. I know a lot of those songs, but I just I'd rather do something like where we do a dead tribute night one night and stuff like that, and just but yeah, I learned on the acoustic on Reckoning album and the Nebraska album by Springsteen.
So when did you start playing?
I started playing when I was like 14.
Okay.
For 3 years. My mom and my sister Kathleen got me a guitar. One of her friends brought a guitar over. I had that and I played it a lot. And I learned from the Mel Bay book. And I don't know how to read, but I had a good ear. So I would play off the radio and I'd play off albums like Dire Straits and Springsteen albums and The Who, Live at Leeds album. I learned a lot. Then I got an electric guitar. My dad bought me an electric guitar when I was like 17. And I didn't stop playing, but I never played out. Then I went to college. I didn't have a guitar. I didn't bring a guitar to college. I went to LaSalle my first year. And the kids next to me, they were sophomores, and I was in a room. I didn't have a guitar at school, which is ridiculous. And there's a good story though. This will tell you what. This will tell you why I play guitar. You got 5 minutes?
Yeah, of course. I got all the time in the world.
So I went to LaSalle first year, and your mom will tell you, I was a nervous kid. I was funny, but I was nervous. I was very anxious, and didn't know what I wanted to do. I was an accounting major at LaSalle. So when I got into LaSalle, just scared. I threw up on the way there. My dad and my brother had to come with me, and I got out of the car on the way on 195, threw up. They left me, and I was like a fucking puppy. I was a fucking puppy, like, what, really? And they left me, and I drank and did, smoked pot and shit like that. Anyway, so the kids that were next to me had a guitar. They had 2 great guitars in the room, and I would go there next door and jam on the guitar. They were cool kids, and I was better than them. And I had and they had the guitars, and I didn't have a guitar. I was like, and then I did acid at the end of my year, and I had a good trip and a bad trip where I was like, the guys that I was hanging around in college they were kind of douchebags. They were just like using each other and
Gotcha.
they were using me, like, because I knew how to save money. I'm the only musician in the world who could save money, and I did acid. And I was like, oh my God, my friends are assholes. And that was like a first thing where you're like, your mind shifts, and it was more psychological. I was like, I don't want to be I was an accounting major.
Yeah.
I don't want to be an accountant. I left that week. It was a Friday. I did that. I left, went home, had a bad trip after about 7 hours of trip, and then I went bad. And I talked to a couple of my brother's friends, and they were like, oh, you hit the dark side. I said, yeah, man, it was bad. And that summer, I was totally anxious, ridiculous. I was working for the town, cutting lawns. And I bought a guitar. I went to school, LaSalle, second year, first day, went in there. I was like Larry David on stage that one time when he's like, I ain't going to do it. I went into LaSalle my first day. I was rooming with those guys who were sophomores. They were now juniors.
Yeah.
And I said, I can't do this. And I had a nervous breakdown and left school. And my dad, I get home, because they knew that I was anxious anyway. They didn't know that I did acid and wanted to change my life. Yeah. And I was like, how do I tell this to anybody? Because I wasn't open-minded. I was open-minded. I wasn't open to talking about things. And my dad sits me down, and he went to LaSalle too. And I was like, Dad, the world isn't what I thought the world would be. I thought the world was going to be open-minded and accepting of everyone and stuff like that. Now, that could have been a personal projection from me onto other things. That definitely could have been, and still is, by the way, still is. And my dad's like, he basically, he's been into heavy some stuff. He's passed away, but he was into some heavy psychological stuff in a good way, in a bad way first, and then in a good way. And it was like, I felt the same way when I was your age. I felt the same way. I said, okay, got it. Now what? And then one of the things he asked was, is it because you're gay? And I said, thanks for asking. This was way ahead of time, because he had a brother who was gay.
He was open-minded.
He was open-minded. And I was like, no, because I was like artistic and stuff like that. And I was like, no, and I could be somewhat gay a little. I mean,
He's like, just making sure.
Just making sure. And I was like, no. And then my sister, who was a psychology kind of major, they had me go down to Maryland and live with her because she had been through some tough times.
Gotcha. So
I bought a guitar the week I left. Back to how I learned guitar. I bought a guitar the week I left LaSalle. And I said, all right. And then I lived with my sister Mary for like a week, and she's like, go down to your other sister.
I can't take you.
She's working up in Wall Street. She's working up there. She's like, go ahead. Right. And so I go down to Kay, and she gets me to a shrink. It took 3 months for me to go to a shrink back then. Mm-hmm. I was like, no, I'm gonna. You're not crazy. Just relax. You're just freaking out a little. And then I went to University College, and I got into College Park.
And you never looked back.
I never looked back, but I never played down there. I played at a Catholic student union.
Yeah.
And I was shaking. Like I'm shaking now. I was shaking in my boots. I played the River, and I think and it was excellent. I played an original. Called I could play it later if you want.
Yeah.
It was a it's like a rhyming song called "Bringing Me." The show is over, sing your song or something like that. It was a good song, and I played that, and it was my last. That was my last year of. That was my first time I ever played out down in. And it was packed. The student union was packed, and it was like a circular stage in the middle of this packed auditorium. And I was like, "What the fuck am I doing?" I was shaking, and my roommates were there, and they were like, "What are you like? Your legs are moving. What do you think? You're Elvis out there?" They were killing me. They were killing me, and I was like, I was shaking. It wasn't Elvis moves. I was shaking.
Oh my gosh!
So I didn't even know. I would have loved. And I said this to a friend of mine. I was like, I would love to hear, because when I was young, I was good at sports. I want to see the home runs I hit. When I die, I want to replay. I want to rewind the home runs that I hit, the goals that I scored in hockey, and that first day that I played.
Like when your life flashes before your eyes, those last moments.
I want a rewind of that video at the gates of wherever, and see all that. Just to see it in a different perspective, because it was all out of fear. All out of fear back then.
We are brought to you by Faded Productions. Faded Productions is a media company whose primary goal is to provide you with premium content on all of your favorite artists. Whether it's podcasts, curated playlists, or photographs of your favorite musicians, we've got you covered. Check us out on Instagram at It's a Faded Production. And for more information, please visit our website at www.itsafadedproduction.com. That's www.itsafadedproduction.com. I think fear does drive people, though. I think it kind of just motivates people to get shit done. Like half the stuff I do is out of anxiety. And like you were talking about with your after doing acid type of anxiety, I kind of had a similar type of thing at college with drug experiences. And afterwards, I don't know if it was necessarily caused by the drugs or maybe just not sure of what I wanted to do with life.
It kicked it into anxiety. It kicked it into double speed.
The drugs and the partying and everything kicked my anxiety into hypersonic speed, and basically.
And when you're your age, it's life is do or die, and it's not.
Exactly.
And it's I got to figure out all this shit right now. My friends are doing this. My friends are doing that. My parents are worried about me. Blah blah blah.
Yep.
I mean. We're not looking at things in the love thing when we're 18, 19. When we're 50, we are.
Yeah.
Like that's almost like the midlife crisis. Okay, so you have a lot of things that you want to accomplish. What is that? I mean, I don't even do it now, but I've been told, write it down, even just a goal for the day, right?
Yep.
Your goal, my goal is to make a CD, all right?
Mm-hmm.
But right now, I got to do this one thing, all right? Now, how do you do it? Like take the will, like allow creativity to come through you, allow yourself to believe that even if I make mistakes, it's going to be okay. I didn't have that at your age, and
Gotcha.
And a lot of kids don't, because some kids are raised with that kind of confidence, plus that love is there. That love's already there, and they feel that, and that's and I don't think those people maybe are as creative as the people who have the anxiety, because they're like, why isn't that love there? Why don't I feel that love?
Yeah.
I need to get that love from somewhere else.
Instead of searching for it, finding a passion or something like
finding
that.
Finding a passion and stuff like that. I mean, but communication now is what I always missed.
Yeah.
I always missed this. And I used to do it through therapy, through a therapist.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't enough, because I'd be like, why am I not, I'd have girlfriends or something like that, and I'd be like, I want to be like this, but I also want to be like this, like two things, and because when you're with somebody, they're going to be as anxious as you are. You're gonna get that same energy bouncing off of each other.
Yeah.
I'm a woman who is like totally secure with herself and secure with everything is not going to go out with me.
Mm-hmm.
As I'm not going to go out with somebody who is totally insecure and jealous or something like that. That won't happen. But back in the day, it would happen, or whatever. And so, like, we have to. I think what I had at your age was, I don't know who I am. I still don't know who I am, by the way. That's always going to be like that.
Yeah.
But trust that everybody loves you. Like that's the deal. That's what I've gotten over the years. Mm-hmm. Everybody loves you, and even if people have something to say bad about you, that's their way of expressing love. Even if they want to, fucking throw you off a cliff.
Yeah.
That's their way of their anger and fear towards the world, and they're taking it out on you for no reason. You know, anybody who does anything bad about me or whatever, I try to pray for them.
Yeah.
And I try to understand that they are just in a way where they're angry at everything. You know?
It's definitely a positive way to look at it too.
Yeah, but it's hard.
It is hard for sure.
And I can say that shit and I still don't believe it. If you know my friends, I'm bitching and moaning about things all the time. You know, it's easy to say, but you know, to pray for other people who have a problem with you, that's what I'm trying to do now.
Yeah. I think it definitely comes with age too, I've realized. That's something I've noticed a lot is with my friends especially too. It's just maturing as we've like grown after college and everything. I've seen it more mentally of people, they're starting to find their ways a little bit of what they want to do. And I don't know, I think people that I used to know who are off the rails batshit crazy now or have like lockdown girlfriends and are jobs and stuff like that. It's just weird seeing the progression of things like that.
I have people in my family, not like that, but like, what do you like? Where's your thing right now? You're living here. Do you put pressure on yourself about getting out?
I put pressure on myself, but not too much pressure. You know, I mean, if I wanted to get out, I could right now, but I would be in an awful situation probably. You know, I'd put my back against the wall and be in like a shit rent place, you know. Like I'm not making the most money, but I'm making like enough to support myself.
Yeah, well, you have a structured family.
Yeah, exactly.
Who you know loves you and will support you and you know is going to kick you out a couple years down the road.
Exactly. I'll get the boot one day.
Yeah, but here's the deal. You're making the most of what you have.
Oh, exactly. I'm saving my money and I'm trying to figure out step by step.
My niece and my nephew, God love you, Sean and Michaela, they lived at the house till like they were 26.
Yeah.
And my sister, who I love, and my brother-in-law, who I love, gave them a little money to buy a house and shit like that. Now,
yeah.
You know, stuff like that. But they're also working their asses off, these kids.
Yeah.
You know, they're great.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, there's nothing wrong with that.
Oh, no, definitely not.
You know,
everything expensive as shit, too, nowadays.
Yeah.
So, I mean, rent prices are ridiculous. The way I look at it is why I live in a shit place when my parents are okay with me living here.
And they're telling you probably stay here
save
and
your
save
money.
your money.
Save your money.
And and don't feel bad about that. Don't feel like, because that's the fucking deal.
I could say it's not good for dating girls, though, living at home with your parents, you know.
What do you mean, this beautiful man cave? You don't want to bring a girl down here?
Well, I go, when I got to walk by my mom and dad upstairs and go, hey, Mom, hey, Dad.
Sarah.
Yeah, this is Sarah. We're going to be downstairs. I'll see you tomorrow morning. Yeah, exactly. That's what it's like living here. We are brought to you by Faded Productions. Faded Productions is a media company whose primary goal is to provide you with premium content on all of your favorite artists. Whether it's podcasts, curated playlists, or photographs of your favorite musicians, we've got you covered. Check us out on Instagram at It's a Faded Production, and for more information, please visit our website at www.itsafadedproduction.com. That's www.itsafadedproduction.com. What else is on it for the track list? Do you know yet?
The track list is a song called "Love Is Letting Go." That's like a little ballad. I'm still writing it, but I write the music first.
Okay.
Double "Love Is Letting Go" of love, and then or letting go of yourself to accept love.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's when I was at some hippy dippy place, and this woman comes up to me. It was this place called Omega. It's up in Rhinebeck, New York. I used to go there to try get my mind straight. And this lady comes up to me and she's like, "Can I pull you aside and talk to you?" I said, "Sure." And she said, "You have 3 angels behind you." And she didn't want money or anything. She's just like a reader, like a I mean the Reiki and all that shit.
Yeah.
And she says, and they're telling me to tell you, and she starts crying, that you need to. She's like, "You've been through the mill." And I'm like, "Yeah, I put myself through the mill, but I've been through the mill. I've had like testicular cancer, about 10 years ago, and I had 3 big breakups, and I was just doing the woe is me kind of thing."
Yeah.
So I was up there, and she's like, "You got 3 angels behind you saying you need to accept love." And I said, "Oh yeah, that's the deal. I'm not accepting anything. People would be like, 'You're the most loved person I know,' and you're not allowing yourself to be loved. And that's, and I was like, yeah, and then I was like, how do I do this? And she's like, we need to go get energy work done and stuff like that, and therapy and stuff like that. So that was, how did I get up there? Oh, Love is Letting Go.
Yeah, Love is Letting Go.
Love is letting go. So that's what that song's, now I know what it's about. I just talked myself into it. Thank you.
So is that taken a while to like come up with, like, because I'm always curious about the songwriting process. So once that happened with that woman, was that something that you were just like, that should be a song?
No.
Or how did it transpire?
I just bullshitted myself into that. I mean, the mind said, okay, oh, Love is Letting Go. That's right. This lady said that to me.
Hey.
So no, yeah. But no. But I did have a song like that. It was like 2 years ago, the music came out. And then when you're playing the music, you're playing the song, and you're like, da, 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 da. And then they'll, oh, Love is Letting. Now that doesn't mean that the song will be called Love is Letting Go. Right now, it's called that.
Something that just comes to mind when you play the tune.
And you're just, just like this, whatever comes to mind. So you're trying to rhyme a little. If you can't rhyme, you just whatever comes out, and then it'll get. The more in focus you get with the song, and the more you're listening to the song, then more things will come out. But that American Irishman, that took me a while to write because I love Joe Finn and I love the family.
I don't know the story about Joe Finn. What's the story behind that song? No.
Oh, so Joe Finn is basically like, he was like the Pope of Avon.
Okay.
So he was a musician. And he came down when he used to play at the Student Prince where Bruce and Southside used to play in the 60s.
Yeah.
In 68.
Yeah.
So he was the Irish guy playing Irish tunes.
Okay.
Back in the day, the Irish music was like, all these dirges and songs about the IRA.
Yeah.
Killing the fucking English and all that shit.
Yeah.
So if you listen to, like, there's a song called Four Green Fields, right? Mm-hmm. And the song is, you were like, oh, Four Green Fields, Irish. Oh, it's how beautiful. No, it says, the British came to kill my sons on these 4 green fields, and my sons are going to kill your sons. That's what the song's about. It's insanity.
Yeah, it's nuts.
It's the Irish.
It's the Irish.
And I got 4 green fields.
And everyone screams it at the bar.
And you're like, what do you mean? 4 green fields, this beautiful thing is about fucking killing.
Yeah. So
anyway, and Joe Finn was not that kind of person, but he was into people being treated with respect. Anyway, so he was an Irish singer, and he would sing all the fun songs. He was kind of like fun guy me, and on Sundays and Sundays at the Norwood Inn.
Yeah.
But years in every bar in Belmar, every bar in the Jersey Shore, he played,
So that song was just an ode to him, basically.
Ode to him, and he was like a mentor. I had a couple of mentors, and he was one of them, and he meant a lot to me in that. Plus, he got sober too when he was 40 or something like that.
Gotcha.
And so that meant a lot to me too. So he just meant a lot to me. So it took me like 3 weeks I would write 2 lines that I knew were good or knew were pretty good. And then I'd cry for like 2 minutes. And because I would think of the family and I'd be like, oh, this is going to be nice.
I'm sure that song means a lot to them now though. Like still to this day.
I hear their kids, his grandkids actually sing it.
That's awesome.
And I want to go over their house like on Thanksgiving and sing it with them.
Oh, that's awesome.
Like that.
Yeah.
Because I've heard stuff like that. So anyway, so he was the icon. He was an icon for so many people. A lot of people, the generation that's dying out. A lot of these people are dying out. Like Bobby Byrne, he was an icon too. Did you ever hear of Bobby Byrne?
No, I haven't.
All right, so Bobby Byrne is a guy that lives in Belmar. Same thing. Beautiful voice. He used to do the Buick commercials. Like,
gotcha.
Buick, and you hear the song, you hear this voice like, it's a Buick. And it'll be Bobby Byrne.
Yeah.
So, and I know his kids. are great. Allison and Miss Faye, Tommy Faye's wife.
So he was the Irish style music too, or was he
Irish style? And he had this thing where he would remember everybody's name. He'd go around the bar. I'm talking 100 people, maybe 50. All right, maybe 50, and remember their names.
Really?
Every single person. And then this is the song like and Harrigan and where they're from in Ireland.
Oh, no way.
It was insane.
That's
still does
crazy.
It still does it. So yeah.
That's crazy.
So just stuff like talented people, and he had an unbelievable voice.
It's weird because it is something that's going away a little bit, because like as a kid I remember seeing the bagpipes everywhere on like St. Patrick's Day and shit like that. I don't see anyone my age playing the bagpipes though.
No.
Like,
well, they're all at the shillelagh.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's very true.
There's young guys
yeah.
at the shillelagh who play bagpipes.
I definitely have
That'd
not.
be a good gift for you.
That would be a good gift.
Are you into the Irish thing or no?
I am into. I wear my clattering. You know.
You are. Then.
I'm Irish. I'm pretty Irish. I mean,
Yeah.
it was my grandpa's. I mean, you know
That's
my
very
grandpa,
cool.
Doc Dwyer.
Yeah.
That
was Doc Dwyer's?
Yeah, I heard it's urban legend that he might have given you one of your first gigs.
Yeah, no, that's the truth.
Really?
That's not urban legend.
Really?
He gave me 3. First of all, I'm playing at the top of his pool. You know the pool over there?
Yeah.
So, and it was packed. It was like 22, probably in the summer of our last year in college.
Yeah.
All right. So, yeah, and it was packed. There was like 300 people there, and I was horrible. I thought I was good. I had a Yamaha guitar with a pickup that was put into the hole, and a little wire coming out of it. It sounded like people still use it as a sound like that. And actually, some guitar pickers use it. Anyway, so I'm sitting at the end. I had these 2 giant Toa speakers. I used to think the bigger the better with these speakers. They were garbage. They were total garbage. Any musicians out there know these Toa speakers. They were this big. I was like, yeah, I got the biggest speakers out there. They sucked. and it's bored. So I'm playing through that and playing. I remember I was playing growing up back there, and me and Julio, things haven't changed. And he gave me, I think it was $250 or $300, and I was like, I could do this for a living. Now $250, that was like how much you made in a week.
Yeah.
I had an apartment with my girlfriend, 19th and A in Belmar, right behind DJ's.
Yeah.
I was paying $450 rent.
Oh no!
My
way.
rent was $450. Now it was as big as this and that. It was like a New York City apartment. It was so small.
Yeah.
But $450. So I saved up for 7 years and bought my house after that.
Yeah.
But it was dirt. We split $450, so it was $225.
Oh, it's crazy.
Yeah. So anyway, what was the story?
My grandpa with the
your dad,
yeah.
your grandfather gave me. It was a great party too.
Yeah.
Gave me like $250 or $300 cash. Good, keep doing this, kid. And I was like, I was off to the races after that.
That's awesome.
when you get a wad of cash, back then that was like $900 right now, or $600.
Yeah.
So I was like, holy crap!
Especially as your first gig, getting a couple $100.
And so I was always searching that because I wasn't getting $250 anyway. I was getting $75.
Where the fuck is this $250?
Yes. What the fuck?
I thought this was a regular.
Hey Doc, you want to have another party?
Yeah, that's pretty funny. Oh Jesus! So how did it spiral from there, though? I mean, how did
say that was 92 or 93? I played into a same year. This is a good one. I played at a friend of mine, Sean. You know the Heine's?
Yeah,
Chris Heine. Chris,
yeah,
you know
huge
Chris
family.
All right, so the Heine's have different brothers and sisters. You got Brian Heine, used to date my sister Mary.
Okay.
And Chris Heine. Chris used to own the drafting table. Did you ever hear the drafting table?
I've heard of it, yes.
That's near Darcy's, but down the street. So this is like 93, 94. And I'm got my giant Toas speakers.
Yeah.
And I'm there, I'm the shit. Sticking out the shit on guitar, right? Playing. And I get done my first break. The speakers pointed directly at the wall. They turned the speaker around because I was so bad.
Oh, no way.
Oh, yeah. So I'm like, what the fuck, man? All angry. And then I got canned from that gig and from a friend of the family's.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Oh, it was bad. It was bad for a while.
Failure sharpens you, though.
It does.
So how long did it take you to get back into it after that?
I was into it. I was just like, oh, they don't know what they're talking about.
Fuck them. I'll show them.
and that was part of it. That's part of the anger and the fear.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to show these people who think I suck, And people still think I suck, but that's okay. Now I don't care. I don't care.
Well, now you're comfortable with yourself to where you don't need to feel that way.
But that person who thinks I'm suck, I'll still be like for a day, like,
yeah,
I gotta make everybody. I gotta make everybody happy. No, those days are over. Those days are over.
That's healthy though, not having to please everybody.
Well, that was my life for years, and
trying to please everybody.
If you look at Jim Carrey, he's got a lot of that. Like he looks at Eckhart, he listens to Eckhart Tolle and stuff like that. You know, I was always on show in my family. Like I was the last of 6.
Gotcha.
So I was always the one, like trying to make everybody happy. The family was breaking up, chaotic family, chaotic big Irish family. All great people. Have to put that in just in case one of them's watching. No, they are really good people. But I was, playing Ralph Cramden and doing like little skits. And then when my parents broke up, I went into my room and played guitar.
Gotcha.
So I internalized that a lot. After that, I externalized it in playing out, and then I internalized it a lot. Like, oh man, I'm going through depression or whatever.
Gotcha.
I'm gonna play. I'd be in my room, and your mom would tell you this. I'd be having parties in my garage, people drinking in my garage when I was 17 or 18, and I'd go into my room while they're partying in my garage and play guitar for an hour. Like, they wouldn't even know where I was. So I was kind of whacked.
Gotcha.
I was into the social thing, but it was about me a lot.
Well, do you think that's kind of like, I guess it goes hand in hand with musicianship, but do you think it's almost like putting on a face at times?
I still put on a face.
Yeah, just like, because you have to go out there and smile and act happy for the audience. And
I'm not putting on a face as much now, but over the last, like 10 years ago to like 5 years ago, I was going through a rough time in my life, and I was just like putting on a face. And then I was realizing, number one, I was making myself suffer. I have nothing to suffer about. Even if the worst things are happening, who's making myself suffer? My mind. I'm making myself suffer, my thoughts. And then when I started realizing that, I was like, okay, now what am I doing? Am I doing things for myself? Am I trying to make other people happy and negating myself?
Mm-hmm.
Or am I going to try and make myself happy now? And I'm still there. I'm still going on that.
We are brought to you by Faded Productions. Faded Productions is a media company whose primary goal is to provide you with premium content on all of your favorite artists. Whether it's podcasts, curated playlists, or photographs of your favorite musicians, we've got you covered. Check us out on Instagram at It's a Faded Production. And for more information, please visit our website at www.itsafadedproduction.com. That's www.itsafadedproduction.com.
Being young, man, that was the reason why I got into a lot of negativity, because I lost a lot of hope. It wasn't about political stuff. It was just about the way people treat each other. I lost a lot of hope. Even friends, I had some friends of mine, we've had difficulties, and a lot of it was because of me and my thinking. But I always thought the world was against me sometimes. And that was fucked up thinking. Like, I had, whether it was alcohol or whatever, or just the way that, when you're young, 'cause I wasn't drinking much when I was young, and I was like, I thought the world was against me. And it's not. It's just a frame of mind that you think that everybody's out to get you.
Yeah.
And you're not good enough. But that's also, I wouldn't be in my mind frame now if I didn't have that. People who work all their lives, who were raised knowing that they have all the love in the world behind them and stuff like that. I don't know if they get to the point where they're like, okay, what was my life about? I'm happy about that. I can say to myself, I know what my life's about now.
Yeah.
That's a cool place to be.
When do you think you hit that point, though?
Just over the last 5 years.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Do you think it was COVID slowing down a bit of life just so you had time to think about things? Because, I know that, like, with your fast-paced type of lifestyle, you're always go, go, go. You got show.
Yeah.
Like, in the summertime, especially around here, you're probably one of the busiest guys in the area.
Mm-hmm.
So it's got to be chaotic.
It's crazy chaotic, and I'm glad that you bring that up, because it is. And I was on that roller coaster and not knowing how to get off.
Yeah.
And I still can't really get off because I got to make money.
Yeah.
But...
And you have a band. You have people who depend on you.
Yes, yes. And I want to keep them happy.
Yeah.
And, that's a roller coaster where, like, if you're on that and you're drinking all the time, your mind is not going to be normal.
Yeah.
It's just going to be like, well, and then people calling sick, and you're like, oh, everybody's, what the fuck, everything. And then when you peel that and say, oh, I need a manager, you peel this off, I need to clear my head a little.
So you think it's basically just taking a step back and reevaluating and just reassessing things. Yeah,
and having good friends to talk to bounce things off of.
That's huge.
Which I was not fucking doing.
Yeah.
I was isolating the shit out of myself and just being, I can deal with this on my own, blah, blah, blah. And now that I have a couple of people, I have a lot of people that I'm bouncing things off of now. And they're like, no, you're distorted there. Oh, yeah, that's true. No, you're distorted there. Like every day I talk to my manager about something. He's like,
yeah.
No, let's work it like this.
Like a voice of reason.
Yes.
Just, someone to bounce like a soundboard almost. Yeah. Like you need to bounce thoughts off of. Mm-hmm. I get that though. I think I've needed the same thing, especially since graduating school, and I think my friends have kind of been good with that as well. I think
if you ever want to call me up.
Oh no, I appreciate that. I think that's a big thing with like kids my age nowadays too. Is like, especially with social media, I think people just don't talk to each other enough. So like people aren't as like open about stuff like that. They kind of internalize things. You know what I mean? The
problem is, I think that people think that social media has been around forever, and this is an experiment.
Oh, it's brand new.
This is an experiment. People, I think your generation. Some people get it. Some people who are
a lot of kids my age think this has been here forever, and this is the way that things are.
And this is a psychological test now.
Yeah,
that we're just starting to see all the stuff that Instagram is doing to young women and how they're fucking committing suicide and or just.
Mental illness and just psychological problems.
We don't know what's going on here.
We are brought to you by Faded Productions. Faded Productions is a media company whose primary goal is to provide you with premium content on all of your favorite artists. Whether it's podcasts, curated playlists, or photographs of your favorite musicians, we've got you covered. Check us out on Instagram at It's a Faded Production. And for more information, please visit our website at www.itsafadedproduction.com. That's www.itsafadedproduction.com. Politics.
Yeah, it's all garbage.
Politics.
Here's the deal. I was a speechwriter at your age. I thought I wanted to do this, and I'm so happy I didn't.
When did you say fuck the speech writing?
When I did acid.
Oh, really? That's when everything changed?
Everything changed. I said, I can't. I got a degree in speech writing. I probably thought I could be like a lawyer or something like that.
Gotcha.
And then I was too lazy.
Yeah.
Way too lazy.
Guitar playing
is a lot easier, man.
That's amazing. How do you get to where you are without knowing how to read music? Have you just never needed to?
No, it's
just chord memorization.
I have a good it's memorization and chord and knowing songs.
Gotcha.
And one thing when you start learning is learn a song all the way through. Some people just learn a song. Sometimes I'd play with guys who would just play lead or something like that, and then if I broke a string or two, they couldn't play the song all the way through, and I'm like, dude, you've been playing a song for 2 years,
and you can only play the one part of it.
And you play the song all the way through, learn it, memorize it, and plus that, and then play with other people who are better than you. My whole band is better musicians than me. I get the Pat Roddy, this and that. And I'm like, I've asked the band. I said, let's change the name of the band because I'm getting all the credit.
How big has your band gotten now? How many members is it?
It's mostly 5. It's me. Of course, I mention myself first.
Yes.
And I'm the one who who makes believe that I don't want no. Larry on bass, Larry Hart, Chris Junko on piano, and we have a couple other piano players. Vinny Kaczynski on the drums, who all the ladies love. And we have Tommy LaBelle on sax. Sometimes we have Dan Hutchinson on sax. Sometimes we've got a bunch of different sax players. And then we have trombones and stuff like that.
Yeah, you guys have horns come in a lot, right?
Yeah, everybody's playing with different people. Sean Watson and Bob Junko.
They do spare parts and stuff like that.
So you should have him in here.
Yeah, I would love to.
He'll come in. And so that's part of my old band, John Walby. And everybody helps each other out. We help them with gigs. They help us with gigs. And so people are like, oh, yeah, what, you're mad because these guys are playing. I'm like, I get jealous sometimes because I love them. But I also am like, we did all this together.
Oh, yeah.
We did all
it's
this
all together. There's obviously plenty of bars for you guys all to play at
it's
different
all
nights.
Love.
Yeah.
They play at some of the places we play. We play at some of the places they play. They play at the Calms in the afternoon. We play at night.
Yeah.
And that could switch one day. Who knows,
Whatever happened to Blue Highway?
Blue Highways was Started with
That was Scravis, right?
Gravis and I'm trying to Chris Fay.
Yep. That's how I know about him. I'm good friends with Chris Fay Jr. Yeah.
And that's morphed too. That's more Bunker took the guitar over the lead guitar.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I mean, you'd have to ask. Why don't you have them in? Bobby
Yeah, I should
have Bobby
ask them in.
Scravis.
I should
Bobby
talk to
Scravis
Bobby.
Is a world class athlete.
I know Princeton.
So-
He was part of that team that played Georgetown back in the day.
Yeah, well, I watched it on TV.
I still see those highlights all the time because
Yeah.
they were up until UMBC Virginia, that upset. They were the closest 16 seed to ever beating a 1 seed.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I remember that game.
Yeah, they lost at the
They
buzzer.
slowed it all down. They slowed
Yeah.
the game down, right?
Yep.
And they played like 4 quarters back then.
Yep. And they literally just held the ball for like a minute
Yeah.
and 15 every possession.
yeah.
It was great.
That's what we did. I played for St. Rose. That's what we did when we played CBA.
No shot clock. Those were the golden days.
No shot
Just
clock.
hold
No
it.
3-pointer either.
Yeah, just hold it and get a layup whenever you can.
Oh, no fun either, by the way.
Yeah.
It's like watching soccer.
Yeah. Oh my God.
It's like watching 10-year-old soccer.
Oh no.
Yeah.
I played soccer and I even think it's boring.
Yeah,
But
I love soccer.
I
was
love
a center.
soccer, but it's definitely.
used
I
to
get
kick
why
the-
people think it's boring.
I was a center forward. I was good too. I used to kick the ball over to fullbacks' heads.
Yeah.
That was my only skill.
Yeah.
And
Just
run
kick and
after
run.
the ball.
Kick and
and
run.
1 out of 3 times I'd score.
It's American soccer. Kick and run.
Kick and run. Yes, exactly. No passing at all.
So you're going to be watching the World Cup then?
I just heard that we're in it.
Yeah. It's in like a week too. I mean, the U.S. is a lot better now too, so it's going to be fun to watch.
Are we good?
Yeah, we're good, but we're young. So
That's fine.
yeah, we'll
It's
be
like the Phillies.
exactly. I mean, the Phillies got to keep their roster
We
together.
got nothing
though.
to lose.
If
How many free agents do we have?
the Phillies? I don't know actually. Do they
I
have
don't
a
think
lot?
we have. We only have like 2, I think.
The Mets have a shit ton.
You know, and everybody says they want to stay in New York. Hasn't really looked that way with the pitchers.
I think DeGrom's leaving.
Some people say he's staying,
Oh, he's leaving.
and here's the deal: every fucking pitcher, and that's a pitcher's park.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And why are they leaving? Because they don't win.
Yeah, that's pretty much is it. I think DeGrom is money, and he wants to be closer to home. But I think
Where's his home? L.A.
he's from Florida, so I think he's going to go down to the Texas Rangers.
Fun.
I think Texas Rangers are going to give him $45 million a year for 4 years. So it's
Yeah.
going to be 4 years,
They
180.
just gave a relief pitcher like $30 million.
Wouldn't it be nice to make $30 million a year just for doing
1 year,
nothing?
give me 1 year.
Yeah, just 1 year. I could throw a baseball.
And then your second throw, you fuck up your arm.
tear my shoulder and I'm done.
I'm done.
Yeah, it's like Noah Syndergaard for the Mets. Yeah, just fucking tear a labrum and you're out for the year. But yeah, we can wrap it up. I know you got somewhere to be.
I gotta
so.
go. I got Chrissy waiting outside in the car.
Oh, awesome. Well, perfect. Well, Pat, this was an absolute pleasure.
All the best of luck.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Yeah, call me up when Denise Calloway comes. I call her Denise Farron.
Yeah, yeah, I know.
Denise Farron and Morge Wire.
Yeah, we'll definitely do that podcast. That'll be fun. They wanted to do an 80s, 70s music podcast.
That's lame.
And they wanted to give commentary on their podcast, on music. So I was like,
let's do like an hour with that, and then I'm coming in with 3 Coca-Colas.
I'll get you all hopped up.
And then we're gonna talk about drinking in 8th grade and 7th grade. Not with Laura as much. Denise, yes.
We'll end it on that. All right. Thank you, Pat. You're the man.